Hey, welcome back to Rad Repairs. This is episode 3, and I'm going to do something a little different. The last 2 videos I made were tutorials about how to fix something. This one, I have this Sony DualShock original for an original PlayStation controller here. It works fine. I just got it not too long ago, except that the joysticks, the analog sticks, are a little sticky. You can tell that they probably need cleaned, and the whole unit itself is, well, it's pretty gross. It's definitely seen some better days and could use a good cleaning. So what we're going to do this video is I'm going to disassemble this controller, and we're going to try to clean it out and see if we can get these sticks to loosen up and see if we can just clean up the whole thing. So I've never taken this particular type of controller before. I've taken a lot of controllers apart before. So this is going to be kind of a learning experience. So let's see how it goes. Alright, we got them loose. Let's see what happens here. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Alright, so I don't want my screws flying out everywhere, so maybe I can... Cool. Well, that looks pretty good on the inside. All the one of the things I'm looking for is just to make sure all the screw holes are good, because when you take them out, you don't want to break them, because then the screws won't go back in. And I've had to use 2-part epoxy before to glue and then put screws back in and then put rubber bands around to hold these things shut, so that A, well, you're never going to get them open again without breaking it, but B, it's really the only way to actually secure those holes back in place. So this one looks good, so that's great. So let's take a look at the actual innards of this controller here. Vibration motors look pretty good. See, it gets hairy and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty amazing what actually gets inside of these things. So we're probably going to use some canned air for this for sure. It's just got some dirt, but it doesn't look too bad. Alright, so we've got one Phillips head screw right there. Alright, that one's same size as all the others. I usually like to compare my screws, because if they're all the same size, then it doesn't really matter which ones they are. But if you sometimes you open these and you find a completely different screw than the outside screws, and then you, oh yeah, which one was which? And so, all right, so that looks like it's attached to that board. It's in the back. The reason I'm not just tearing this thing open is because you don't want to, like, you know, destroy a ribbon cable or something. That would be a bad day. So you've got these wires also that connect from the board that are soldered onto the vibration motors, and you don't want to just go ripping those out either. So, kind of want to keep the whole thing together. I really don't want to take that ribbon cable off. And I also don't want the ribbon cable to pull out of these L and R1 buttons. You see that they're actually kind of laced up inside. And I've pulled those out before on a PS3 controller, and it was an absolute pain in the butt trying to get it back in. Okay, so the vibration motor is just going to slide out. Perfect. And then maybe I can... Buttons are probably going to go flying everywhere. Okay, there we go. I figured it was all just going to kind of fall apart, which is fine. But see, now that we've got access to this, we can really get in there and scrub some of this up. And you know, I probably should grab... Q-tips are going to be a big lifesaver getting inside of those little button holes. So I'll keep my little Q-tips off to the side. And that'll help us here in a little bit. Alright, so I always like going in here and really cleaning up around the inside and around these buttons, because they really get gross, and that's disgusting. Someone else's oils on their hands and stuff. So I'm just going to use a Lysol wipe, and probably going to get in there and see if I can't just scrub some of that stuff out. Now that looks about 1 billion times better than it did a minute ago, and it didn't take much effort at all. So we're going to call that D-pad good to go. All right, now the buttons are pretty simple. else we got? Let's see. Here's another pad. This is what goes behind the D-pad here. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. Just put that off to the side. It's behind everything so it wouldn't be dirty. All right. Now I'm just testing the analog sticks, and you may notice that they're actually working. Oh, that one's pretty sticky. Yeah, this one feels good. This one does not. So I think what we're gonna have to do is we're actually gonna have to pull this one off. There we go. It looks like it's got some junk down in there, which is causing the problem. What we might be able to do is use just a little bit of WD-40 to free that mechanism up a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. WD-40, and use another little bowl. I like to keep these little bowls around. Okay, we're just going to put some in this bowl right here. And then I like using a tiny straw, a coffee stirrer. That's what this is. And we're just going to put that down there. We're going to hold the end so that I just get a little bit inside the straw. And then we'll put some of that down in there. Just and tap it as it releases out in there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of that spray glue in there, fill in that crack, and then quickly press it down, try to get any of the excess glue off. Alright, so got my Elmer's spray adhesive here. Make sure that's nice and shaken up. And I'm actually going to use my paper towel here. It's kind of a platform for any excess spray that's going to happen. Got my toothpick here. This stuff dries pretty quickly, so it's pretty easy to use. Once you shake it up, you can do a test to see how it comes out. So it doesn't make a whole lot of mess or anything. So we're just going to put a little bit on the. Use this one, it's a little cleaner. I'm going to use this. Okay. Going to kind of open it a little bit. Rub that right inside of that crevice there. Okay. And then press down. You see some of that excess is going to come out. That's not that big of a deal. Should be able, since this is rubber, should be able to flatten that down. And actually, I may not even need to use the tape because it's so tacky. That's actually pretty darn good. I am pleased. Yeah, not bad. You can see it, obviously. I mean, it's still got the line there. But you can't feel it as much. And for something that you're using your thumb on, I guess it's just weird when you're playing and you can feel that crack there. I mean, you can still feel it a little bit, but not like it was when it was sticking up. So, yeah, I mean, I knew this spray glue stuff was going to dry fast, but I kind of forgot that if you only use a tiny, tiny bit, it dries really fast. But it looks like that's going to work really well. So, cool. I'm happy. And in fact, I don't think we need to pause here. I think we just keep going because that's pretty much dry already. And so I think we can probably just keep putting everything back together, which is awesome. Yeah, we got that back in our thing there. Let's see how that... Oh yeah. Look at that. That's awesome. It feels great. We need to clean the cable too. I'm going to clean a little bit of the top of the cable because this cable is pretty gross. You can tell it's just covered in dirt. But I mean, you can tell the original color too. You can tell that's not a cut in the cable. It's just where the cable was inside the controller and the cable is outside of the controller. All right, so we had one last little rubber piece to come out of the top of the controller. Put that off to the side. All right, this bad boy. So for this one, I'm probably just gonna use some of my green cleaner. All right, that looks a lot better. It is no visible signs of dirt. A couple of scratches from where it's been scratched over the years, but not too bad. But that's last time it was that clean was when it left the factory. So now we'll just flip over to the back. All right, so that looks a lot better. So we've got our two halves nice and clean. When we get to the cable, that's probably going to be the last thing. But now we get the fun of figuring out how everything else goes back together. Alright, so I had to do a little cut there and I realized what was going on, and it was this little light piece. I had put that in first and it was stopping the plastic piece right here from being able to push all the way down. So I told you this was going to be fun because I didn't know what I was going to be doing when I put it back together. So lesson learned, put this piece in, make sure the board's all nice and flat, then put your light piece back in there. And lastly, take our white. I think this thing is looking pretty good. Obviously only one more test to do, make sure it still works, but as long as we got everything put back together the way it went, it should be good. So hey, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe. So see you next time on Rad Repairs.